Hi, this is Natalie Rydstrom here from SportsBookReview.com. Aston Villa and Manchester United kick off Premier League's action on Friday, 14th of August at Villa Park. Now, both teams won their season openers and will be looking to continue their early success. Here on the line is sports writer and SBR contributor Richard Prew to run through the match, and do stay tuned for his top tip at the end.
Hi there.
Now, the Villains have beaten the Devils in their last 5 meetings, but their last meeting at Villa Park back in December, they managed a 1-1 draw. They have the home advantage in this match. So what are you expecting to see on the pitch, Richard?
Oh, well, it's very early days in the season, of course, and both teams won their first game 1-0, but it was against a very different quality of opponent. Aston Villa went to promoted side Bournemouth and won 1-0, having looked rather unconvincing for most of the game. Whereas Manchester United beat top 6 or 7 side last year, Tottenham at home 1-0 as well. So I think most people would expect, despite the fact that Aston Villa are at home, that Manchester United would be firm favourites for this game. On Saturday, in the first game of the season, they had £83 million worth of new signings on the pitch. Yeah. And that compared to Aston Villa, who in the close season lost their best defender, midfielder and striker, and I've only really just started to replace those players in the last couple of weeks. So there's the added uncertainty in this game of not only is it the start of the season, but you've got one very different squad than the form that they showed last year, and one squad with a lot of new signings as well.
Exactly.
So very much caution at this very early stage of the season, but most people, as the odds would suggest, would have Manchester United pretty firm favourites for this game.
There still is a touch of value there on the winners market. Manchester United 1.67 Ladbrokes, the draw 3.8, 888 Sport, and then Aston Villa 6.25 Bet Victor. You can also play Manchester United half-time, full-time 2.55 Bet Victor. They could possibly get that early goal in, maintain the lead to the end of the match there. Would you be tempted to play the Manchester United half-time, full-time?
Well, I think I would say that if you look at the firepower in the two teams for scoring goals, then obviously Manchester United with Wayne Rooney up front, supported by the new signing Memphis Depay and Juan Mata, they should be the side that you'd be looking to take the lead. So something like the Manchester United half-time, full-time looks a sensible enough alternative to backing quite cramped odds for the outright win. If that's the way that you wanted to bet.
And 1.67, if our viewers wanted to bet just sort of Manchester United and the straight win, would you advise them on those odds, or would you sort of suggest to look for other bets for this match? I'd
be looking for other bets, because I think if you're away from home for what is only the second game of the season, 1.67 is pretty cramped. I'd expect them to win, but I don't think it's value as such. I think there's alternative bets that are probably more attractive. This is, after all, early in the season, you do get some surprise results. Only last weekend, top 4 sides, Arsenal lost. Chelsea were held at home by a lower team to a draw. Yeah. You know, this is not particularly the time of the season where you can make firm conclusions until you've really got some short-term form to go on.
Yeah, very true indeed. Now, obviously, both teams kept their opponents last week from scoring. What are you expecting in this match in terms of goals?
I think it might be quite low scoring, and the reason that I say that is firstly that Aston Villa, they lost Benteke to Liverpool, and the strikers that they brought in, first of which is Gested from a championship team, and the second one is Jordan Ayew from a French team. It's whether you can give them the service, and I think Aston Villa are going to take a bit of time to settle down this season. At the same time, they're a very solid defensive team. So it could be that they struggle to score and yet are quite happy to keep it going quite tight. So I think one of the bets that I would be looking to have for this game is something like under 2.5 goals in the game. You know, correct scores of 1-0, 2-0 Manchester United. I think under 2.5 goals is something like 1.85, 1.86 at the moment. Yeah. And I think that's in that over-under market would be one of the things that I'd be looking. I'd be surprised if this was a high-scoring game.
Yeah, same here. The under there, you can get 1.86 at 888 Sport. You can also look for Manchester United to win to 0, or also both teams to score no, which is also 1.86, 888 Sport. But Richard, go on, tell us, what have you got as your top tip for us today?
Well, I like the under 2.5 goals there at 1.85 is the bet that I'll be having. I think it gives you slightly more to go at. Looking at the style of Aston Villa, I'd be surprised if they were scoring too many goals. It's early in the season. These squads are going to take a bit of time to settle in. Famous last words, let's go for a low-scoring game.
All right, then, so the top tip for this match is the under 2.5 goals there. You can get that 1.85, 1.86. Richard, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.